Okay, we got like 20 seconds.
Hear my prayer, Lord.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Rhonda Jackson Smith, and this is Heaven, Earth, and Beyond. This is the Abundant Life Church of Christ, and our guests for tonight are Sister Amanda Riley. Thank you so much for being with us, and Sister Kyler Smith. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about that mind and body connection. So if you were with us last week, we talked a little bit about the three pillars of health, and we talked about sleep, exercise, and diet being those three pillars. Today, we're going to make a bit of a pivot and talk a little bit about that mind and body connection. And luckily, we have Sister Amanda who is here with us today. And I want to tell you all a little bit about Sister Amanda if you are not familiar with her. She's a native of Richmond. She lives in Glen Allen County, and she is one of 6 siblings. While she is not the biological mother of any children, she has had a hand in raising a few children. So still a mother. She's employed by Truist Bank, where she's worked for the last 23 years. And although several years away, she is looking forward to retirement. Amen, Amanda.
Absolutely.
Me too, me too. Not quite there. She loves to read. She loves spending time with her family. And she's got a few favorite scriptures. And one of them would be Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Sister Amanda, we talked a little bit about your bio, but there is a very special reason why you are here today.
Yes.
We've talked a little bit about health journeys, and I know you've had one. Would you mind sharing a little bit about your health journey?
Well, it actually started nearly 20 years ago, and it just, from a routine checkup, I was told that I had high blood pressure and that I needed medication. While it wasn't a complete surprise to me, still didn't set right with me because I'm not a medication type of person. But just to give you a little background, I've always been active, middle school, high school, college, and after college, that activity, that exercise kind of flew out of the window. So, starting to work and being on my own, and during that time, picked up a bad habit of smoking. And so, going back to the doctor telling me that I had high blood pressure and I need to be put on medication, I knew I had 2 challenges: to quit smoking, because I knew that that was contributing to my high blood pressure, and to lose weight. So in knowing that I had 2, my strategy was you can't do both at the same time.
Right. I was about to say, what did you tackle first?
For me, yeah, that was overwhelming. So
Yeah.
I stopped the smoking first,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew I needed some help with losing weight, because after years of eating, foods that's not so good for me regularly, I knew I needed some help. So I kept hearing about this doctor who's local, Henrico Doctors Hospital, weight loss doctor. And I kind of passed it off first couple times I've heard of him, and moved to different employment, and so I started Truist, and I started hearing his name again. I said, okay, well, let me give this doctor a try. And I think I probably stayed on his program for 8 months to a year, and I initially lost 74 pounds. And so I said, okay. And so I said, I can do this. I can do this. So in thinking about my family's health history, I knew that it couldn't stop there. I mean, it's a life journey. So, and that's how I look at it. And so I went through the program and kind of started doing it on my own after that 8 months to a year, and this is where I am.
Wow. So I want to back up for a second. You said the first thing that you did was cut the smoking habit. That is no easy feat. So would you
Not
mind sharing a
easy
little
at
bit
all.
about what that piece was like for you?
Very hard, very hard. I had tried before
Mm-hmm.
to stop smoking on my own, and I've tried some of everything. Didn't work, nothing worked. But, you know, when I was told that I had high blood pressure, I knew that it was serious. I need to do something to actually stop smoking. And so after I exhausted everything that I could do,
Yeah.
I said, you know what, Lord, I need your help. So I literally went to my closet to pray and asked the Lord, I need strength, I need your help. And that was it.
Wow.
He did just that. And haven't looked back since.
Amen.
Haven't looked, so
Amen.
when I
Oh my
say-
goodness.
my strength comes from the Lord, it truly comes from the Lord.
Wow.
Truly. I had done everything else until I prayed and he took it away.
That was one thing you didn't try before.
One thing for some reason I felt like I could do it on my own,
about
and
that?
you know, and sometimes we can, but a lot of times we need the Lord's help, and
Absolutely.
so he took it away.
Wow. So you talked a little bit about that program that you were doing. Would you mind sharing a little bit about what that entailed?
Yeah, when I first started going to Dr. Johnson, and you may want to share that information with him. I think did I send you the link for him?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So I think it's been so long ago, but I think he started off with a B12 shot.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me a list of things that I should be eating daily,
Mm-hmm.
things I shouldn't and stay away from. I started reading food labels then. That's something that he is in his program.
So what did he say about food labels?
Sweets and I want to say sodium. He just told me what I should stay under
Okay.
as far as the intake of that.
Got it.
And journaling, that was very, very, very important, and that helped me so much. It really did. I mean, just to see, you know, that saying, make your vision plain, and it's true. I mean, when I wrote it down and I saw it every day, that helped me to stay focused.
So when you were journaling, was that about your feelings? Was that about your food? What was the
It
journaling?
was about my foods and about my exercise.
Okay.
Because I did both.
You were keeping track of what
Yes.
you were eating and what
Yes.
you were doing
Yes.
every single day.
And even if I, for some reason, ate something bad, that, you know, I went back and, you know, so even that I journal.
Yeah. Well, it keeps you on. It keeps you honest, right?
Exactly. So I know that going forward, okay, I had this yesterday. I had this cookie or this piece of cake. I can't have that.
Right.
So yeah, both exercise and food intake. Yeah, I journaled.
How long did you journal?
I still do it now. I don't do it as
Really?
often,
Okay.
but when I have setbacks,
Yeah.
yeah, that helps me. So I still do it now. I just don't do it as often.
And that's a great way of collecting data,
Yeah.
right? That journaling,
Yeah.
what you eat, how much you eat,
Absolutely.
and when you have splurges, because
Yes.
the reality is we are going to have splurges. It's not
Absolutely.
realistic to think you're never going to have a splurge again because you're being healthy. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I still do it now.
Wow. So how long did it take before it became a habit? Because I will say for people that you don't journal, you're at the initial start point, it may seem tedious and unimportant.
Right.
So it takes a certain amount of time before
Right.
it becomes, let me do this, let me get this done. Like brushing your teeth, right? You got to get it done.
I would say to become a complete habit for me, I would say at least a couple of years.
Okay.
A couple of years. I mean, now it's without thinking pretty
Yeah.
much. It's because it's been so long. But
Right.
at least a couple of years it took me to make it a habit for me to stay on the right track and knowing what to do.
Right.
Because I had to learn what to do for me.
Yeah.
Everything doesn't work for everybody. So I had to learn what to do for me.
Can you say that one more time?
Everything doesn't work for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think that's how you get discouraged when you think of, well, this person did it this way or that
Right.
person did it that way. Everything it might not work for you. You have to find your way.
Yep.
So yeah, I went through a couple things
Mm-hmm.
that
Wasn't for you.
right, that wasn't for me, and I had to figure that out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Interesting. So you mentioned something about a B12 shot. Was it explained to you what that did or how that supported your journey with the weight loss?
Yeah, that increased my energy,
Okay.
and um, it helped me to be motivated to exercise
Mm-hmm.
because that's something I had gotten out of.
Yeah.
You know, I had gotten out of being totally active or active on a daily basis. So yeah, that gave me energy to help me to get that exercise in.
And we were Kyler and I were talking about sedentary
Mm-hmm.
lifestyles
Yeah,
and how
yeah.
it's so funny because even when Pastor Gary was talking a couple of weeks ago, he was talking about how active he was when he was younger and in
Yeah.
high school, and
Yeah.
then it seems like, I don't know, once we become grown,
That's right. That's right.
you don't do you just stop and
Yeah,
you
you
sit on
just
your
stop.
couch and you get
Yeah.
into a different kind of
Right.
routine.
Yeah.
So what types of exercises did you do?
Well, I started slow,
Mhm.
and I did that purposely
Okay.
because and that's something another thing that the doctor kind of reinforced. Don't try to start on a fast pace because you're gonna burn out and then you're gonna get discouraged and you're gonna stop. So I think I started out 15 minutes a day just walking, and I made myself do that every day. And we get to the point where we may not see the things that to happen that we want to
Right.
see, but you have to stay focused.
Yeah.
And so 15 minutes a day turned to 20 minutes a day, turned to 30 minutes a day. I'm now walking every day 3 to 4 miles.
Wow.
And on Sundays, because that's what my free day, I
Yeah.
call that my free day because I get to have my desserts and I get to
Right.
have,
Your
whatever.
splurge.
Your
Right,
little cheat
exactly.
day. Yeah.
So on Sundays, I'm 6 to 7 miles a day because I walked the 3 miles and before church, and I walked the 3 miles
Wow.
after church
Wow.
or more.
That's
So,
amazing.
Yeah, but I had to get up to that point.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel like when you said that, I just feel like there's spiritual value in that, right? Just because you do it right now and it's a small start and you don't see what you want, you
Right.
don't give up. You
Right.
continue on.
Exactly.
You continue on. You continue to believe. You continue to be consistent.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is amazing.
Yeah,
3
I
and
mean,
4 miles.
But
Wow.
again, I had to get up to that point.
Yeah.
I started out at 15 minutes a day.
Right.
So, and it's
Yep.
been, like I said, almost 20 years. So
Yep.
now it's like,
Mm.
and that's also my devotion time. I use it as my devotion time. When I'm usually on a treadmill for that however many hours,
Yeah.
or that's my devotion time. So
Yeah.
that kind of inspires me too, to get up and to get on the treadmill.
And it's so nice. And me personally, I'm not a big treadmill person, but I definitely connect to what you're saying in terms of that being devotional time, because there's nothing like walking outside.
Right.
And I want to say Minister Jaquan Ball was talking about it last week. He said, there's nothing else for you to do, so you just need to shut up and listen to God,
Right, that's
you know?
right, that's
And
right,
so,
that's right.
and it's just something about being outside, being in
Yeah,
nature,
yeah, I agree.
just you can stop and reflect and think and listen, and there's just such clarity.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody don't like the treadmill.
That's
Yeah.
different things for
You
different
know,
folks.
I've heard a lot of people say, I don't know how you do that. I just can't do the treadmill like that. And I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
I tend not to do outside, especially during the summer months, because I don't like bugs.
Mhm.
But as it gets cooler, I might walk the neighborhood a little bit. But treadmills is my thing.
Yeah. So you mentioned whenever you have setbacks, you go back to journaling. Talk to us a little bit about how you handled setbacks. And like, in your mind, the things that you had to say to yourself to keep yourself, motivated.
Well, again, family history,
Mhm.
health history. That's always top of my mind because I've had family members who had to get on blood pressure medication, diabetes, heart health issues. So that's always the top of my mind, my family health history. And then my purpose. I know that as long as the Lord keeps me here, I want to be as healthy as possible. So I think about that, and I envision how that looks 10 years or 20 years from now. I'm always thinking 10, 5.
So tell us, what does Amanda look like 20 years from now?
Healthy, mobile.
Because she's retired by then.
Right. I
She's
am.
retired
And I want
then.
to be able to truly enjoy my retirement. I don't want to be restricted in mobility. I don't want to be restricted in where I can go and how my endurance and how far I can go. So I don't just exercise for losing weight. I exercise because I want to keep my heart healthy. I want to make sure that my heart is strengthened. So because we can't control what might happen, we can think that we're in control, but we're not. So as long as I'm here, I want to be as healthy as possible. And so I know that I have to play a part in that. We need that, the Lord to help us to get through, but we have to do our part. So and if you don't do anything, you don't get the results.
And so the scripture that comes to me is faith without works
Absolutely.
is dead.
It is.
So the work is you got to put in the work
gotta do
that
the
you
work.
can do.
You got to do the work.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get discouraged.
Yeah.
Like I said, when you don't see the results you want, but you have to remember your purpose. You have to remember why you're doing it in the first place.
Goes back to your why.
Yeah.
And it sounds like for you, your why is you want to have a long, healthy life. You want that longevity, but also the other thing I'm hearing you say is you are not interested in being on medication, and so you want to
not at all.
avoid that if at all possible.
Because that medication leads to more medication, and you know all the side effects. So all of that I think about.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So Thanksgiving is next week.
Yes.
And so are there any particular things, and that may be a splurge day for you. Is that going to be a splurge day for you?
It is.
So what are some things, and you mentioned like Sundays are your splurge days, and I want to tell you, everything that I've read, they really talk about allowing yourself a splurge day. Like in order for there to be that longevity with being able to maintain, healthy, you need to have your splurges. Now what that looks like for you depends on what that looks like for you,
Right.
but you have a splurge day, it's planned, it's coming, so you can get to that, and then you go back to the healthy eating. So what are the splurges that you are looking forward to on Thanksgiving Day?
All of it. All of it. But, I plan for events like that. I plan for whether it's a family event, whether it's a holiday, I plan for it. So for Thanksgiving, for an example, since Thanksgiving is coming up, first week in November is my focus. I'm focused. I'm making sure that I don't intake anything that, that's going to not be good for me, because I know that Thanksgiving is coming up, and I know that I don't hold off on anything.
Got it.
I don't hold off on anything. So I'm eating my raw vegetables, my salads and my spinach, and, I'm making sure that I stay focused for Thanksgiving. So I plan for it.
So
And I exercise a little more.
Okay, got it. Yep. So you up that. So it sounds like, how do you manage stress? So you are not an emotional eater, I'm assuming.
I sometimes, not very rarely.
Okay.
But sometimes. But treadmill helps me with that.
Okay.
When I'm bored or when I'm anxious about something, treadmill helps me to relax and just let go.
So boredom and being anxious those are two triggers for for some people, not most. For some people, that might be the trigger to reach for food. For you, it's the way that you burn that off and manage that is on the treadmill.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes. And when, I'm working from home full time now since COVID. But when I was working, and even now when I go into the office, it's stairs for me.
Yeah.
So even now, if I'm in a building, if I have to go into a building, any place with stairs, very rarely, if at all, I take anything other than stairs.
Wow.
That's just normal for me.
Yeah. So then how was that transition? Because I know for a lot of folks, transitioning from making that pivot from being in an office where, that out and about to being at home, I find, because I work from home and I'm out and about some as well, it's much more sedentary. And so, I saw my eating habits were changing, and so I've kind of had to hit my own reset. How was that for you?
Same. for me, if I'm home, like you said, I'm sitting most of the time. It's easy because I've built a home gym, so
Oh, wow.
it's easy for me to just go upstairs into my room and exercise.
Yeah.
If I had to go out, I know that wouldn't work for me.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I can get, so it's like today around 2 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock, I go upstairs and I do a mile or two.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I work it.
So how many steps do you average in a day, Amanda?
Oh, I don't know. I don't keep.
You don't keep
No,
track?
I don't keep up with the stairs. This steps. I do. For me, it's miles.
Okay.
I mean, miles.
Yeah.
But
I'm
she don't
not
even
gonna-
fool with steps. It's
Yeah.
miles.
It's
Okay,
miles.
understood. Understood. Oh my
awesome.
gosh. And we also have with us Miss Kyler Smith. And just to share a little bit of information about Kyler, she is a young person who was born and raised here at the Abundant Life Church of Christ. And she is a JMU Go Dukes.
Go Dukes.
Go Dukes,
Go Dukes.
alumni. She majored in psychology and behavioral analysis. She's passionate about the importance of music and how it intersects with matters of the mind. She believes in staying active, and she's danced both in studios and in church for the majority of her life. She's also passionate about sharing with others the importance of taking care of our minds, as everything we do flows from it. So I'm so glad to have you here,
Yay.
Kyler. So when we talk a little bit about that mind-body connection and a lot of the things that Amanda talked about, just, you know, the whys and
Yeah.
working through the challenges and having that focus and that sense of purpose, what drew you to your field?
Well, I've always been a dancer, first and foremost, and I've always been interested in the mind as well, and why we do the things we do, our actions, our words, our childhood development also has a lot to do with our mind and how we grow up and develop into adults. And so that was just something that really interested me, and the connection between the two is very strong. It's a huge intersection between the mind and movement in the body. And so that's something that always just fascinated me.
So did you have any ahas during your studies with that intersection?
I would say my ahas, more so were personal to me, more than educational. I would say, yes, my studies influence like a lot of different lifestyle changes for me. And also, I say personal as in me seeing examples of, you know, what to do, what not to do, from family members or from friends even. So just having those personal, those like observations that I've seen from people around me has definitely encouraged me and helped me in my studies and see the bigger picture of, okay, like the mind has this much effect on the body and vice versa.
Yeah.
So.
And I've always found that having those personal connections it just seems to root and embed in ways that
Yeah.
just looking at something in a book doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily do it. It makes it
Yeah.
more real and tangible for sure.
Exactly,
And when you
exactly.
talked about your family and the family history and how that connected to your why, like those are the things that really kind of drive us
Yeah,
for sure. So talk a little bit about how that mind-body connection gets expressed in emotions. So we talked a little bit about being emotional eaters and how to manage that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. So when we are emotional or where our emotions are heightened in any capacity, obviously we're very vulnerable, and there's many different things that people resort to, and that can be eating, that stress eating or depression eating or something of that nature. And you're in a very vulnerable state. You're emotional, you may be sad, you may be anxious, you might be anything else that you're feeling. And because you're in such a vulnerable position, that causes for anything. You can do anything. And so eating is definitely something I feel like a lot of people automatically go to, especially if it's something right there, if your pantry's right there,
Yeah.
your fridge is right there, and you can just go and eat to your heart's content. I mean, it's right connected. It's connected. And so I think it's very important to, first of all, regulate our emotions. Emotional regulation is a big thing, but also setting boundaries with ourselves and knowing that, okay, when I am emotional, being aware of when you're emotional and knowing that when I am emotional, I'm going to set this boundary to make sure I do not go and do this, or I do not eat this, or I don't stress eat a big bag of Cheetos, or like something of that nature. So I think it's very important to set boundaries when you're emotional. When you know you can be an emotional eater, I think it's very important to establish boundaries within yourself. Because your mind is not going to stop you. If you don't set that boundary mentally, that mental block in your mind to say, hey, this is how I'm feeling right now. If you don't check in with yourself, say, this is how I'm feeling right now, and I just want to eat something to satisfy me, to make me feel better temporarily. If you don't have a block, I mean, you're going to do it. And then it's just going to keep happening until you're at a weight you don't like.
And it creeps up, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
it
my
creeps
goodness. 2 pounds turns into
Yeah.
5,
Yeah.
into
It's no
10.
warning.
Yes.
Right, and it
no
kind
warning.
of snowballs.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it's something that else that you said, you talked about the heightened emotions. And what popped into my head is food is central to most cultures, certainly ours. And we celebrate with food. So heightened
Exactly.
emotions could be a celebration. I remember when my husband and I were doing Bible college together, our celebration was after that Bible college class, we wanted to get ice cream and cake. And that was our heightened emotion. It was like,
Right.
whoa, we feel good. Let's go
Yeah.
get some ice cream, honey. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what we did for that entire year. You know, when celebrations happen, you
Yeah.
know, someone, it's food that we tend to go
Yeah.
to. And so I
Exactly.
think the heightened emotions isn't just the lows
Yeah, it's the highs
or the
as
bad,
well.
it can be the highs. And so
Exactly.
I think your point is well taken in that kind of having that boundary. And also like, maybe we can celebrate in ways other than food. I
Right,
don't know.
exactly.
What would that
There's
look
plenty
like?
other ways. You can go take yourself out for a walk, take the family out to like a fun park or something, go to an arcade. We mentioned the other day, like getting your nails done or getting your hair done, and you know, just treating yourself in other ways that doesn't have to do with food.
Yeah.
Which is definitely going to be a shift because a lot of celebratory things and a lot of social things, food tends to be at the center of it.
Exactly,
It's how
yeah.
it's how love is expressed and
Yeah.
maternal love is pies and savory foods
Yes.
and sweets and traditions. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a lot linked and tied
Yeah.
into food, and so I think being able to kind of tease out and finding, like you said, the boundaries,
Yeah.
having those boundaries,
Yeah.
absolutely. So talk to us a little bit about that physical, mental, and cognitive function that connects.
Okay, so every time we get up to move, every time we do something new, there are synapses in our brain that create and they form. Whenever, this doesn't just go for movement, but anything new that we are taking in, any new information that's new to us, we take in, our brain creates synapses, which also can be broken. They can be formed and they can be broken as well if they're not, you know, being treated properly. So these synapses can form if we're moving, we're getting up every day, we're establishing boundaries that we need for our health, we're eating properly, we're moving, you know, for our functional health and benefits. Those synapses can form into healthy things, and they help us, you know, keep track of everything, keep track of the steps that we're taking, keep track of the food that we're eating. You know, in our mind, it already says, okay, I have this synapse in my mind, in my brain, it's formed, and so it's already there, and it's going to help me to continue to move forward into my health journey because, you know, it's already something I've been doing, it's established, it's more like concrete. But also, you have synapses in your mind too, that if you don't use them for a while, they're going to break. They're going to break. And so it's like if you're not moving, if you're not eating healthy, if you're not establishing, you know, good, healthy things in your life, they're going to break. And it's going to be even harder to try to get back, you know,
I
to
agree.
where you want to be. So it's very important to keep in mind how our brain is very, very precious and very sensitive to our bodies and the things that we do or don't do.
Right.
Because that can easily affect us.
And it really does all connect. Some of the reading that I was doing, they were some of what I discovered was first of all, there's a mental impact if we are sedentary. Sedentary
Yeah.
meaning we're just sitting a lot, right? We were talking about
Yeah.
you're done with school, you're grown, you work, you come home, you sit.
Right.
And that's where you stay
Right.
until
Yeah.
you roll into your bed
Right.
and start all over again.
Right.
And so how that's not good for your mental
Exactly.
functioning, how it's not good for your cognitive
Exactly.
functioning. You know, like I teach fitness classes, and we are required to have a certain amount of trainings that we do to keep our certification. And some of the research that I had to read really talked about the connection between folks, the physical movement and memory. Like, it was powerful to me. And so just to think, like, being able to move and how that is so important in keeping your mind sharp, that connection. Not a connection I would have naturally made if I hadn't read that.
Right.
Something else that you and I were talking, and one of the things that I came across was that, you mentioned smoking, and I came across an article, and I remember someone saying this to me at the gym, that a sedentary lifestyle is like the new smoking. And
I've heard that.
So certainly being sedentary isn't as detrimental as smoking is, but it's pretty doggone close. It's like the second. So sitting and doing nothing, it's not good for us mentally. You kind of get into a slump, you get into a funk.
Exactly.
That mood gets low. There's something about moving and being out with other people.
Yeah, exactly.
And that connection.
Yeah.
I talked a little bit about being sedentary, but talk to us about functional movement. And I want everybody to know that the three of us are actually going to be going through some stretches that Kyler's is going to be leading us through. So if you do not have your sneakers on and your comfy pants, go grab them very quickly, make a quick change, and meet us back here, because Kyler's going to be doing that. And while you're getting changed, she's going to talk a little bit about functional movement.
Yes. So basically, functional movement is just things that help us in our everyday life. Everyday things that we do, like putting on our pants or putting on your socks, or putting on a jacket, bending down to pick something up off of the floor, even driving a car, things like that. Just basic everyday functions that we do. Functional movement helps with that. It helps you to be more mobile, helps you to be more agile, helps you to be more flexible. And it just overall is just better for longevity of your body, pretty much.
And I guess it's one of those things you don't realize or appreciate it fully until you're having issues with it.
Exactly.
Right. It's not until you can't bend over to tie your shoe that you realize, ooh, I have some issues with that. Or squatting down to the floor to pick something up. I mean, that hip mobility. So there are just a lot of, even just being able to twist and turn, if things aren't right, it's one of those things you don't fully appreciate the blessing of it until you have issues with it.
Exactly.
Yes. And I know, can you talk a little bit about the historical aspects of innovation and how it's been a blessing, but there's also been a flip side to that coin?
Yeah. So we know, I mean, in our world, it's 2023, so many technological advancements and innovations and things of that nature, but it's come at a cost, for sure. Because back in the day, I mean, I wasn't around during that time, but back in the day, there were things that even, well, I guess I should start with like things of like slavery as well, because we as a people, African American people, we're used to labor, we're used to physical labor, we're used to working our bodies, pushing our bodies to the absolute extent and way past, any type of boundary that we have. But we've come so far from that, and it's a blessing that we did. Obviously, it's a blessing. But now we've reached the technological age where, and I can't skip the part too where, there was a time when you guys had the manual TVs and the buttons and the knobs that you had to get up and walk to go turn the TV on, and you didn't have a remote necessarily, or you didn't have the talk in your remote thing where you could just sit on the couch and chill and
talk in your remote thing.
Yeah, they have those. Or you could just sit and talk in your remote. You can type on your remote.
So pushing the button is too much. You have to talk into it.
Yeah, pushing the button is way too much.
But even taking a step back from that, post-slavery, there was this big agrarian society where folks were farmers.
Yeah,
and you had to work the land, and in order for you to eat, you had to plant crops, and you had collards and your winter crops, and your, you had these animals you had to tend to, and that is physical. That's a lot of serious physical work.
Exactly.
Even as home takers, you and I were talking about this. I remember. And I'm not that old. Okay, I'm 53. Maybe I am. But I remember as a little girl seeing women that were washing clothes. There was this little hand crank that you would put the clothes through that would help to dry them. And so I remember seeing my mom take the rug and throwing it over the clothes, because people used to hang up clothes on a clothesline. They didn't have a dryer, so that was more work, but literally beating the rug. And so being a home, a home care person caring for your home, it was physical work. There wasn't a vacuum cleaner. You had to sweep. And, there were scrub boards. I mean, so chopping wood for heat. My husband and I had a wood burning stove in Churchill when we first got married. It's work.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my gosh, it's a lot of work. So, and again, I'm not that old, but like, you're absolutely right. As technology has advanced and we have all been financially blessed and prosperous, we have become less and less physically active in our day to day. It is not built into our day the way it used to be.
Right.
Exactly.
I remember my grandfather talking, and he would walk to work. Like, who does that? He walked to work. And it was a good little walk. And that's just, I guess, what you did, And so just those little things, just to be able to get back and forth that get built into your day, that stuff's not there anymore.
It's not. It's nothing in place. Everything is so fast at your
is.
fingertips. Your appliances, your
Everything.
phones, your computers, remotes, everything is right there at your fingertips. So there's no means for anybody to get up and do anything
Like
anymore.
you said, it doesn't come without a cost.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
the cost.
And that is the cost.
Our physical being so sedentary.
Yeah. And I think the other cost would be doing a lot of sitting. You find, I mean, what does it feel like? I know for me, I'm always having to roll my shoulders back. I hear my spinal just snap, cracking, and popping because I just get so stiff.
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty active person, but like every single morning I have to stretch.
Right.
I really do, in order to feel like, okay, I can take on this day. So this will be a great segue for us to get started on some
Alrighty,
stretches. So
let's
what
do
we're going to
it.
be doing is heading down to the floor. We're going to bring these mics over, and Kyler is going to lead us in some stretches.
Also, get your water if you don't have any by you. Should I bring that down too? So basically, to start stretching, you just want to have a basic check-in with yourself, with your body. It really should happen every day. I think it's good to have at least 5 to 10 minutes daily, or longer if you have the time. But it's good to just breathe in, check in with your body. Just affirm yourself. You can pray. Use that time as your devotional time. And really just ask the Lord, thank you. Like, thank you. Tell the Lord, thank you for giving me this body. Thank you for making me able-bodied if you are. If you have a disability, tell the Lord, thank you for giving you the body that you have. And just thank the Lord for breath in your lungs, activity of your limbs, a sound mind, strong, healthy body. All of these things that we take for granted on a daily basis, it's good to just check in, to breathe, to tell the Lord, thank you, and to utilize the body that he gave you. It's as simple as that.
Amen.
So to start off, we're just going to stand here. You can close your eyes if you want, or you can leave them open. But basically, you're just going to stand here. You're going to be as relaxed as possible. You're just going to breathe in a few times. We can do 3 times. Take a deep breath in, inhale, and exhale. Then we're going to inhale again, and exhale. And in this moment, you can really just clear your mind of anything, any stresses, any worries, anything that you have going on. You just got to release it. You just got to drop it at the feet of Jesus and just be present in this moment. And so let's inhale again, and let's exhale. All right, and now we're just going to shake it out. Shake it out, shake it out. Get some blood pumping, get your blood flowing. So we're going to start with some head rolls. These are things you can do every day, whenever you want to do it. So we're going to start off with our head rolling to the right. Just rolling it around, stretching your neck. I know a lot of people carry tension in their necks, in their shoulders. So this is good to kind of just loosen your neck, loosen your shoulders, loosen any tension that you carry, any stress that you carry. Now we're going to roll to the left. Allow yourself to take some time. Just feel it out. Just keep breathing. That's super important. While you're still stretching, you want to keep breathing. You never want to hold your breath. Now we're going to do some isolations. So we're going to look up, center, down, center. Up, center, down, center. Up, center, down, center, up, center, and down, center. Next, we're going to move our head to the right. So right, center, left, center, right, center, left, center, right, center, left, center. One more time. Right, center, and left, center. Now we're going to move to our shoulders. A lot of people carry tension in their shoulders as well. So we are going to roll backwards. Roll back your shoulders. As slow as you need. Slow and steady wins the race. You don't want to hurt yourself, or if you have pain in your shoulders, you don't want to agitate anything. So it's important to just take your time, roll it out. You might hear some ligaments crack.
Snap, crackle, and pop.
Snap, crackle, and popping going on. Then we're going to roll forwards. Take your time. We're going to keep breathing and breathing. Don't hold anything in. Roll. Okay, great. And now we're also going to do more shoulder rolls, but this is going to involve our arms. So we're going to take our arms and we're going to go forward like this. This is loosening up a little more under the arm. We're going to go forward. Make sure you're still breathing. In breathing, it shouldn't be laborious. It shouldn't be hard. It should just be simple. You should just be breathing, taking it all in, thanking the Lord for giving you movement in your ligaments and in your joints. And we're going to roll backwards. Take as much time as you need. Go as slow or as fast as you need to go. Make sure you're breathing. All right. Now we're going to shake it out some. Shake it out, shake it out. Shake it out, shake it out. Okay, and now I'm just going to step back a little bit. We're going to do some arm rolls. We're going to do some arm rolls forward. You might hear some more snap, crackle, and pops. You might hear a lot on this one. I hear some of mine already. And we're going to go backwards. Alrighty. And now we're going to go down to, you can shake it out, shake it out. Now we're going to go down to our legs. So we're going to do a roll down to the floor. You don't have to touch your toes. This is not about, reaching your toes or who could touch the floor or whatever. This is just simply about getting a good stretch in our legs, get our blood flowing and moving properly. If you already are stiff or you already have pain in your legs, I wouldn't recommend you stretch, especially if you have a torn muscle or pulled muscle, because you don't want to stretch it out and pull it even worse. But if you are able, make sure you are in a standing position. We're going to roll down, starting at our head. We're going to go all the way down. We're going to reach to the floor. If you can't touch the floor, that's perfectly fine. But the direction we're going to is the floor. We're going to stay here for a little bit. In order to get a good stretch, you have to stretch at least 15 to 30 seconds in order to get a good stretch in. We're going to hang here for a little bit. Even if you can't reach all the way down, you can also hold your arms like this, and you can hang. Do a little hang. Make sure you feel it. Your feet can be either, close and parallel, or you could be a little shoulder width apart. It's up to you. Make sure we're stretching, reaching. Make sure you're breathing. And now we're going to take a bend in our knees. So we're bending down, we're rolling down. But we're going to take a little bend in our knees. We're going to straighten them back up. We're going to bend again in our knees. Keep breathing. And we're going to straighten. We're going to bend again. We're going to straighten. And we're going to roll up. Roll up through the spine. Roll up through the spine. Roll up through the spine. Great. And let's shake it out. Shake it out.
That
shake
felt
it
really
out.
good on my back.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good stretch for the back. All right, so now we're going to widen our stance some. And we're going to do a little bit more of a lateral stretch to get like our sides and our backs and things of that nature. So we're going to start off going to the left side. We're going to reach with our right arm. We're going to go over to the left, reaching with our right arm. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. And then we're going to go down to our ankle, our left ankle. And we're going to hold. Make sure you're breathing. I know a lot of you might feel it in your legs, your hamstrings, your quads. Actually, not your quads. Your calves. Your hamstrings and your calves should feel the most stretching. Then we're going to go to the center. And then we're going to roll it back up through the spine. Make sure you're still in a wide leg stance. And then we're going to go over to the right with our left arm. Make sure you're reaching through that arm. Make sure there's so much energy shooting out of your arm. Make sure you keep reaching. It should be never ending. You should feel like you are reaching and reaching and reaching, reaching to the heavens. And make sure you're still breathing and breathing. We want to make sure that our blood is circulating, our breath is circulating through our body. Keep reaching. And now we're going to go to our ankle, our right ankle. And hold. And keep breathing. If you can't even get all the way down, that is perfectly fine. As long as you're reaching and as long as you feel a stretch, you're perfectly fine. Breathe and breathe. Again, you should feel it in your hamstrings and your calf muscles. And then we're going to go back to the center. And we're just going to hang here for a little bit. Make sure you feel a good stretch going. You can hang if need be. You can swing back and forth. You can also put your hands all the way through your legs, backwards, and try to reach forward. You'll feel an even deeper stretch if you are going for that. Keep breathing. Drink your water if need be. Alrighty, and then we're going to bend our knees again. And we're going to straighten. We're going to bend. And straighten. One more time. Going to bend. And straighten. And we're going to roll back up through the spine. Roll back up through the spine. Great. Shake it on out. Shake it on out. Get some water if you need it. Get some water if you need it. Yeah. All right. Now, a lot of these stretches you might have seen before, you might not have seen, but we're going to take our right arm and we're going to stretch our tricep. We're going to place it behind our heads. You're going to try to touch in between your shoulder blades, and you're going to not necessarily pull your arm. Don't pull your arm, but just make sure you're resting your hand back here between your shoulder blades, and make sure that you have your left hand over top of your elbow to just kind of guide your tricep, guide your stretch. And we're just going to stand here for a minute. Make sure you breathe through it. Keep breathing.
So we hold these stretches for 30 seconds.
Yes, for 15 up to 30 seconds. That's how you feel a decent stretch, a good stretch. Now we're going to switch our arms. So we're going to go to the left arm, fold it back. Your hand can be placed between your shoulder blades. Right arm on top, right hand on top. We're going to keep breathing. Make sure you feel a good stretch. Sip your water if need be. All right. Shake it out, shake it out. Take a deep breath, take a deep breath. Now we're going to take that same right arm and we're going to go across our body. We're going to take our left arm as support and we are going to don't pull your arm, but we're just going to make sure that left arm is there in support to help stretch our arm and stretch our shoulder a little bit. And we're going to breathe. Keep breathing. This is a good time to affirm yourself, to keep yourself motivated. You can use scripture, just whatever you need to help you get through and to stay on track for your stretching.
Is there a scripture that you like to use to stay motivated?
I like to use, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want ice cream and cookies." I use that. Yeah, I like to use that one. No, but I just pretty much use different scriptures to keep me, just different things. Or I might sing a song, listen to some worship music. We can switch arms. Or have a podcast on or something while I'm doing it, just to keep my mind. Yeah. Music is a good motivator. As well, yes. Make sure we're breathing. Do you guys have any favorite scriptures? Or things that you do to help you get through, do or say to yourself to help you get through working out or stretching and things of that nature?
I usually find myself just kind of giving thanks to have the ability to do the things I've been able to do.
Yeah.
Just because I've seen folks that aren't mobile, and I'm very grateful, and I'm always giving thanks.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm always thanking God just for strength and endurance.
Right.
To help me continue.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's easy, like I said, it's easy to give up. But
Right.
you ask for that extra strength, you ask for that extra endurance, sometimes
Exactly. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so for our last stretch, this might be a little challenging, but it's a good challenge. We are going to take one of our legs, and we are going to kind of just cup it in our arms and our hands a little bit.
Is there a way to modify this?
There is a way to modify it. So you can always pull if need be. You can grab a chair. Would you like the chair? You can always grab a chair. As long as you're not fully leaning your body onto something, you don't want something else to carry your support, but you want to be able to hold your own, but if necessary, to help you find your balance, you can lean on something. Yes, for sure. Yeah. And then we can switch our legs.
But in a good way, right? Because what I find is being able to train our balance is really important as we get older.
Exactly. Balance is crucial, especially, like you said, in our older age. But also, you can practice balancing with putting on your socks, putting on your shoes, taking them on and off every single day. And that's a good, fun challenge.
And that's a functional.
Yeah.
See, I'm talking.
It's for functionality. I think it's good to find little things in your day that you can challenge yourself with, or just in life in general, to help you in your day-to-day functions. So yeah, we can just shake it on out.
Shake it out.
Loosen up, and yeah, we can roll out our wrists, roll out our necks, our heads, our shoulders, our ankles. We can roll one way and roll the other way.
That's another good balance challenge.
Yeah. And we can switch. Your hips, yes. So there's one where I like to, actually, you can keep your feet parallel like this, and you can bend one knee. So in this case, I'm bending my left knee. I'm going to put my hands down to the ground, and I'm going to reach up with one twist, And you should feel it all in your IT band right here, yeah. So bend one knee, reach up, stretch, keep breathing. You gotta breathe through the pain, pray your way through the pain, sing your way, praise your way through the pain. All right, and we're gonna switch to the other leg. Bend our right knee, stretch upwards to the ceiling, making sure we're breathing. Make sure that other leg is completely straight. One bended knee and one straight knee. And we should feel it all up the side of our leg.
And that feels really good. Yeah.
Come back down. Roll it up. And yeah, shake it on out. Every time you should shake it out. Make sure your blood is pumping. You're feeling good. You should feel good after you have completed stretching and moving and working out. It's really rewarding after you finished it. After you finished your workout, you feel good about yourself. You have a huge dopamine hit.
I guess you feel a little lift,
yeah, you
right?
feel, you feel more energized and excited and ready to just take on your day. So I think movements like these are very good for everyday function and practice. So put it into practice, put it in a go, and you should see a lot of improvements in your mobility, in your agility, in your flexibility.
So do you have, for folks like Amanda and myself, we sit at a desk every day.
Mm-hmm.
Are there a couple of nuggets that you can share with folks like us and folks in the audience that may be sitting at a desk?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of stretches can you do while sitting at a desk?
So I think it's important to, if you are in corporate America or you're a student and you're always sitting at your desk, I think it's important to regulate yourself and make sure you take breaks for yourself. Pinpoint moments in your day where you can stand up. Hopefully you can stand up and you're not locked to your desk all day, every day. But I think in those moments, it's good to even like just get up and like move, take a little step. Like,
knee lifts.
Yeah, little knee lifts and things like that. It's good to roll around, shake it out. It's good to just reach up and stretch. You stretch and you can roll down and then roll it back up however you need to. Just breathe in and release it and roll down. And hopefully no one in your office will look at you crazy. They shouldn't. I mean,
well, no, because they're sitting at their desk too,
exactly,
right? And so
exactly. They wish they were doing that. But yeah, it's good to just, you can just, you know, bring it on up and breathe. Yeah, you can. Lean side to side.
Have that lean. Yeah.
Or even a twist. A
Yes.
twist is good too.
I find that
If you're
I
in your
have to
chair,
do those twists.
If you're in your chair
Yeah.
and you need a good twist for your back and your sides, that's perfectly good too. So,
Back, sides, and shoulders.
Back,
sitting
sides, and shoulders. Always
over a computer
always
all
can roll
day.
your shoulders, especially if you find yourself not having good posture
Yeah.
as well. A good shoulder roll would do you good.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess because otherwise, in time, you end up with that,
Yeah.
you know, and that becomes like a permanent thing. So just kind of maintaining
especially
that.
at a computer or at a phone. And most of the time, we're always looking down like this.
Yep.
So it's good to make sure you do a shoulder check.
Yep.
Roll them back, twist your back, stretch your sides, breathe in and out, and you're good to go.
Good. Well, thank you so
And that's
much,
all the time we
Tyler.
have.
All right.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope you have a blessed and wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Last words on Thanksgiving, ladies, that we want to share in terms of the splurge and how to make sure we stay on track. Any last words you have, Sister Amanda?
I would say.
Come to the mic so folks can hear it.
I would say something I tell my family all the time. First, choose. Because, you know, all the choices we make, there are consequences. So first choose. And then I would say, don't restrict yourself so much that you don't enjoy Thanksgiving. You know, give yourself some grace. But then after Thanksgiving, fight.
There you go.
That's what I mean. It's about fighting. So that's what I tell my family all the time. Fight back. Because we have to fight back.
Yeah.
You know?
Any words that you have?
I would just say don't be miserable. Don't put yourself in a miserable position where you're like, oh, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, and you're staring so hard at everybody else's plate. I think it's good to just have regulation within yourself, those boundaries that we talked about earlier, setting those mental boundaries, those emotional eating boundaries. I know it's the holiday season, and we're all excited, you know, But I think it's very crucial to put those boundaries and practices into place so we can regulate our food intake and the things that we do. And it is all about balance as well. So as long as you don't overindulge, it's good to know your limits. Yeah.
All right. I guess the thing that I would say is enjoy Thanksgiving Day and have a plan for the day after Thanksgiving.
Right.
Maybe you guys can do a turkey trot together or something fun as a family. So this has been Heaven, Earth, and Beyond. We thank you so much for joining us. I'm Rhonda Jackson Smith. And again, thanking Kyler Smith and Amanda Riley. You guys have a blessed evening and a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Praise God. Your committed and planned final gifts are vital to the ministry mission and maintenance of the Abundant Life Church of Christ. Your generosity and giving is greatly needed and appreciated. You can securely give online through our website at alccrichmond.org/donate. Give using the Cash App. Our hashtag is ALCC. So that's $ALCCSOW. So. If technology is not for you, you can mail in your gifts to the Abundant Life Church of Christ. ALCC, P.O. Box 149, Mechanicsville, Virginia 23111. Or during church business hours at the Laburnum campus, 3700 Goodale Road, Richmond, Virginia 23223.
With my mouth